All right, so healthy eating. It seems pretty straightforward, right? Eat your fruits and veggies. But then you look at all this stuff and I don't know. What do you think?
Oh, yeah. It can be pretty overwhelming. Every day there's something new. You should be doing this or you shouldn't be eating that. So for this deep dive, I think we're going to do things a little differently, right?
Yeah, I love that. Like, let's get into it. Let's not just tell people what to eat. Let's really unpack it. Yeah.
Exactly. And luckily, you've sent over some really great stuff. We've got research articles. We've got popular pieces. We've even got some stuff about the environmental impact of food choices. And it's all pretty fascinating stuff. I think we should start with this idea of macronutrients, like carbs, fat, protein.
Good place to start. So let's talk carbs. I feel like they're the, the bad boy of the nutrition world, right?
Yeah, they get a lot of flack. But one of the things I found super interesting in the research was this idea that refined carbs are kind of like putting low-grade fuel in your car.
Yeah.
That's going to run, but not great, and long-term well.
Okay. I like that analogy. So what kind of carbs are like premium fuel?
Well, complex carbs, things like whole grains, fruits, veggies, they provide sustained energy, right? And they're full of all sorts of nutrients that those refined carbs like white bread and sugary stuff just don't have.
Gotcha. So it's not no carbs. It's just choose wisely. Okay, let's talk about fats. Another one that gets demonized, right? Like, remember when everyone was all about low-fat everything?
Oh, yeah. The low-fat craze. And look, it's true. Some fats are definitely bad news, like those saturated and trans fats. But there's this whole other category of fats that are not just good for you, but actually essential.
Okay. Tell me more about these good fats.
One of your articles talked about monounsaturated fats, like the ones in avocados. They can help with your blood sugar and might even reduce the risk of some chronic diseases.
Wait, hold on. So, like, eating guacamole is good for you?
Exactly. And it's not just avocados. Nuts, olive oil, even fish, especially oily ones like salmon, have these good fats that your body actually needs to function properly.
Okay. This is kind of changing my perspective on fats.
I think a lot of people are realizing that fat isn't the enemy it was made out to be.
All right. Next up, smoothies. Love them. But some of these sources made me wonder if I should be rethinking my smoothie habit.
Yeah, smoothies can be tricky. Like, you can easily pack a ton of fruits and veggies into a smoothie, which is great. But a lot of the store-bought ones are packed with sugar.
Oh, so like even if it looks healthy and has spinach in it, it could still be not so great.
Right. The best way to make sure your smoothie is actually healthy is to make yourself. That way you control what goes in.
Okay, homemade smoothies for the win. Now, what about sugar substitutes? I mean, everyone wants to indulge their sweet tooth, right?
Oh, for sure. And it seems like everyone is looking for a healthy way to do it. Dates, maple syrup, stevia, there's so many options.
But are these really a free pass? Can we really have our cake and eat it too?
Well, one of the things I found interesting was this idea of crowding out instead of cutting out. Like, instead of trying to completely eliminate all sweets, focus on eating more whole foods, you'll naturally be less hungry for those sugary treats.
Okay, that's actually really clever. So it's about shifting the balance, not about deprivation.
Exactly. And, that actually leads into another big topic, protein.
Ah, yes, protein. I feel like everyone's obsessed with protein these days. But how much do we really need, and where should we be getting it from?
Well, one of the studies you sent really broke it down. Turns out a lot of people are eating way more protein than they actually need.
So all those protein shakes, maybe not necessary.
Well, it depends on your individual goals, right? But what was really cool was how many plant-based protein sources there are, like beans, lentils, quinoa, even tofu and tempeh.
Whoa. Plant-based protein, that's something I need to explore more.
It's amazing how many options there are.
All right, now on to something we all need, regardless of diet. Hydration.
Couldn't agree more. And while water is the gold standard, there are other options to keep things interesting.
Spill the tea! Literally, what else can we be drinking?
Coconut water is great, especially after a workout, because it's full of electrolytes. And then there's herbal tea, tons of varieties, and some even have extra health benefits.
Okay, so coconut water for replenishing and herbal tea for a little boost. Got it. What about the sugary drinks? The ones we all know we should be avoiding.
Oh, yeah. Big no-no. One source actually described sugary drinks as being like a sponge. They actually pull water out of your cells, leading to dehydration.
Crazy.
Right?
Yeah, ditch the soda and stick with the good stuff.
Exactly. And you could even jazz up your water with lemon, cucumber, or mint.
That's a great tip, especially if you're trying to cut back on sugary drinks.
Exactly.
So we've covered a lot of ground today. What stood out to you so far?
I think it's fascinating how we're moving away from this good food, bad food mentality. It's more about understanding what works for your body and making informed choices.
Yeah, I'm really starting to understand that it's not about restriction. It's about finding a way to eat that makes you feel good and gives you energy.
Exactly. And I think that's a perfect segue into the next part of our deep dive, where we're going to talk about the connection between food and mental health. Welcome back. So last time, we really got into the nuts and bolts of carbs and fats, right? But now we're going even deeper.
Yeah, into the mind-gut connection. I've heard about this, but I don't know. It all sounds a little out there.
I get it. But the research is pretty compelling. It's not just about what you eat affecting your weight or your energy levels. It's about how food impacts your mood, your focus, your overall mental well-being.
Okay, so like if I eat a donut, I'm going to feel, I don't know, sluggish? Is that what we're talking about?
Well, yeah, but it goes deeper than that. One of the studies you sent talked about how blood sugar spikes and crashes, like the ones you get from sugary foods, they can actually mess with your neurotransmitters. The chemicals in your brain that control things like mood and concentration.
Oh, wow. So those sugar crashes are a real thing.
Oh, yeah. And it's not just about sugar. It's also about fiber.
Okay, so fiber. We talked about that last time, right? How it's good for digestion and helps with those blood sugar spikes.
Exactly. But fiber also plays this huge role in feeding the beneficial bacteria in your gut. It's like fertilizer for your gut microbiome.
Okay, hold up. Gut microbiome. That sounds kind of, I don't know, science-y.
Think of it like a garden. A healthy gut microbiome is like a thriving garden with a diverse range of plants. You need a good balance of beneficial bacteria in there.
So we want a lot of different good bacteria in our gut. How do we do that?
That's where prebiotics and probiotics come in. Prebiotics are like the fuel for the good bacteria. They're types of fiber that we can't digest, but our gut bacteria love them.
Okay, so prebiotics are like food for the good guys, and probiotics are?
The good guys themselves. Live beneficial bacteria that can help replenish and diversify that gut microbiome.
All right. So where do we find these gut-friendly foods?
Prebiotics are in things like onions, garlic, asparagus, bananas, even oats.
Okay, so lots of good stuff there. What about probiotics?
Yogurt, right.
Yogurt is a classic. But there's also a whole world of fermented foods out there that are packed with probiotics. Sauerkraut, kimchi, kefir.
Wait, like the stuff you put on hot dogs?
Yep. They might not be the most glamorous foods, but they're incredible for your gut health.
I'm definitely adding those to my shopping list.
I think you'll be surprised how much you like them.
Now, what about actually eating? Like, I know we've talked about what to eat, but is there a right way to eat?
That's a great question. And it's something a lot of people overlook. Have you ever heard of mindful eating?
Yeah, I think so. Isn't it like, I don't know, chewing your food more? It's more than that. It's about slowing down, paying attention to your senses, really savoring each bite, instead of scarfing down your lunch while checking emails.
Oh, yeah. Definitely guilty of that. But why is mindful eating so important?
Well, it can help with digestion, reduce stress, and even make food taste better.
Okay, I need to work on that. Being more mindful. Now, let's be real. Healthy eating can be tough, especially when you're bombarded with all these ads for tempting treats and conflicting advice.
Oh, yeah, for sure. That's where supplements come in.
Okay, supplements. Are they really necessary?
It depends. Your sources all stress that whole food should always come first.
Okay, so food first, supplements second. But when are they actually helpful?
Well, they can be great for people who have, dietary restrictions. Maybe they're vegan or vegetarian, or if they have certain medical conditions. Athletes sometimes need extra nutrients too.
So it's really about tailoring it to your individual needs.
Exactly. And it's always a good idea to talk to your doctor before starting any new supplements. They can help you figure out what's right for you.
Got it. Doctor's orders. Now, this next topic is something I'm really interested in. The whole social aspect of food. Like, I love how food brings people together. It's about more than just eating.
Absolutely. It's about connection, tradition, culture.
Exactly. Like those big family meals, they're about so much more than just the food, right?
One of your sources talked about how shared meals can strengthen social bonds, create memories, and even pass down traditions through generations.
Yeah, it's like, my grandma's lasagna recipe. It's not just food. It's her legacy.
Exactly. And it's important to preserve those traditions.
But how do we do that and still eat healthy? Like some of those traditional datas are, well, they're not exactly low-cal.
That's a great point. And your sources had some great tips. One was portion control. You can still enjoy those special dishes, just maybe have a smaller serving.
Okay, so moderation is key.
Another suggestion was to get creative in the kitchen. Like maybe you can modify a traditional recipe to make it a little healthier.
So like my grandma's lasagna, but with, I don't know, more veggies and less cheese.
Exactly. It's about finding that balance.
Now, what about those pesky cravings? You know, the ones that hit you out of nowhere and make you want to eat all the things you know you shouldn't?
Cravings are totally normal.
Really? I always thought they were a sign of weakness. Like, I don't have enough willpower.
One of the sources actually said, cravings are your body's way of trying to tell you something. Like maybe you're not getting enough of a certain nutrient.
So instead of fighting cravings, we should try to understand them.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like if you're craving salty foods, maybe you need more electrolytes. Or a chocolate craving might mean you're low on magnesium.
Okay. But what if it's just a craving for, cake?
It's okay to indulge sometimes. Depriving yourself completely can actually backfire.
Oh, so it's all about balance again.
Balance is key. But there are strategies for managing those indulgent cravings. Like, try delaying gratification. Instead of giving in right away, tell yourself you can have it later.
Oh, like if I'm craving cookies, I'll have one after dinner.
Exactly. Or find a healthier alternative.
Like a piece of fruit with some nut butter.
Perfect example. It's about satisfying that craving without derailing your healthy eating goals. Now let's tackle another big question. Meal frequency. How often should we be eating?
Yeah, this one always gets me. Breakfast is the most important meal of the day. No, wait. Intermittent fasting is the key to weight loss? Like, what's the answer?
It's it's not that simple.
Oh, of course not.
Everyone is different, right? There's no magic number of meals that works for everyone.
So what should we be considering when figuring out our own meal frequency?
Well, blood sugar control is a big one. Some people find that eating smaller, more frequent meals helps keep their blood sugar stable. But others do fine with 3 larger meals.
So listen to your body.
Exactly. And think about your digestion. How do you feel after a big meal? Sluggish or satisfied? It's all about finding what works for you.
Okay, what about snacking? Is that good or bad?
Same thing. It depends.
I knew it.
Snacking can actually be helpful for some people, especially if they're, really active or have trouble managing their blood sugar. But it's all about the types of snacks you choose.
So what are good snack choices?
Whole foods are always the best bet. Fruits, veggies, nuts, seeds.
Got it. Fuel, not filler.
Exactly. And be mindful of portion sizes. Pre-portion your snacks to avoid mindless munching.
Okay, pre-portion. Good tip. I tend to just grab a handful of almonds and then whoops, half the bag is gone.
I think we've all been there. Now let's dive into something that can be a bit tricky. Food sensitivities and intolerances.
Oh, yeah, this is a big one. Like, everyone seems to be gluten-free or dairy-free these days.
Well, one of the things your sources talked about was the difference between a sensitivity and an intolerance. An intolerance, like lactose intolerance, is all about digestion. Your body has trouble breaking down certain components of food.
So no immune system freak out.
Right. It's more about discomfort, bloating, gas, that kind of thing. Now, a sensitivity, on the other hand, that's when your immune system gets involved.
Oh, so like my body thinks a certain food is like the enemy and attacks it.
Kind of. And the symptoms can be a lot wider ranging. You might have digestive issues, but you could also have skin problems, headaches, fatigue, even joint pain.
Whoa, that's intense. So if you think you might have a sensitivity or an intolerance, what should you do?
Talk to your doctor. They can help you figure out if there's a real concern and what to do about it.
Okay, so no more self-diagnosing based on, WebMD.
Exactly. Now, let's shift gears a bit and talk about something that's becoming increasingly important: the environmental impact of our food choices.
Oh yeah, sustainability. This is something I'm trying to be more mindful of, but it can be tough to know where to start.
Well, the good news is that a lot of the choices that are good for our bodies are also good for the planet.
So it's a win-win. But specifically, what can we do?
One of the biggest things is reducing our consumption of meat, especially red meat. Livestock production is a huge contributor to greenhouse gas emissions, not to mention deforestation and water pollution.
Wow. I knew meat had an impact, but I didn't realize it was that significant.
It's definitely something to consider. Another important step is choosing locally sourced foods whenever possible.
Oh yeah, farmers markets.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And don't underestimate the power of reducing food waste.
I am so guilty of letting food go bad in my fridge. Any tips for avoiding that?
Planning your meals, storing food properly, and getting creative with leftovers are all helpful.
Okay, so being more mindful of what we're buying and how we're storing it makes sense.
Absolutely. Now, let's talk about something that can be a real barrier for a lot of people. Healthy eating on a budget.
Yeah, I feel like healthy food is always more expensive.
It definitely doesn't have to be. Yeah. Your sources had some really great tips, like planning your meals is huge. When you have a plan, you're less likely to make those impulse purchases at the grocery store.
So true. I always spend way more when I'm just wandering around the aisles aimlessly.
Another big one is cooking more meals at home. Restaurant meals are expensive, and they're often loaded with extra calories, sodium, and fat.
So get in the kitchen and get creative.
Exactly. And don't forget about buying in bulk, especially for staples like grains, beans, lentils.
Oh yeah, good idea.
And frozen fruits and veggies are a lifesaver. They're just as nutritious as fresh and usually cheaper.
Love frozen veggies.
Oh.
So convenient.
Right. And one last tip, don't be afraid to experiment with cheaper cuts of meat or plant-based protein sources. Beans, lentils, tofu.
Okay, so many good tips. I feel like I could actually make this work.
You absolutely can. It's all about being resourceful. Now, this next topic is really interesting, the role of genetics.
Genetics? Like, are you saying my genes determine whether I'm destined to be I don't know, a junk food addict?
Not exactly. But our genes definitely play a role in how our bodies respond to different foods.
So, like, some people are just predisposed to have a faster metabolism or to crave certain foods.
There's definitely a genetic component to those things. And this whole new field is emerging called Nutrigenomics.
What?
Nutrigenomics. It's basically the study of how our genes and our diet interact.
Wow, that's pretty mind-blowing. So could you, get a genetic test and find out what you should be eating?
Well, there are companies that offer that, and the research is still developing. But one study you sent showed that people who followed diets tailored to their genes saw improvements in their cholesterol levels and blood pressure.
Wow. So maybe someday we'll all have personalized diet plans based on our DNA.
It's definitely a possibility.
Yeah.
Now, on to a topic that's often surrounded by a lot of hype. Detox diets and cleanses.
Oh, yeah. I've tried a few of those. They always sound so, promising.
But the reality is, your body is already a detox machine.
Wait, really?
Yeah. Your liver, kidneys, digestive system, they all work together to eliminate waste products from your body.
So, I don't need to do a juice cleanse to get rid of toxins.
Not at all. In fact, a lot of those cleanses can actually be harmful.
Yeah.
You're missing out on essential nutrients and disrupting your body's natural balance.
Okay, so ditch the detox and focus on supporting my body's own detox system. Got it.
Exactly. And the best way to do that is by eating a balanced diet, staying hydrated, getting enough sleep, and managing stress.
It's the basics are always the best.
Exactly. And speaking of basics, let's not forget about physical activity.
Oh, right. Exercise. I knew we couldn't get away with just talking about food.
Nope. Exercise is essential for overall health and well-being, and it plays a big role in healthy eating, too.
So it's not just about what we eat, it's about how we move our bodies.
Exactly. Regular physical activity helps us maintain a healthy weight, boosts our mood, improves our sleep, and even helps us make healthier food choices. One of your sources even called exercise medicine for the body and mind.
Okay, I'm convinced. But how much exercise do we actually need?
Your sources recommend aiming for at least 150 minutes of moderate intensity aerobic activity, or 75 minutes of vigorous intensity aerobic activity per week, along with muscle strengthening activities at least 2 days a week.
So a mix of cardio and strength training.
Exactly. And the most important thing is to find activities you enjoy and that fit into your lifestyle. It doesn't have to be complicated.
Makes sense. Now, I have to ask, how do we navigate healthy eating during the holidays? It's all about cookies and cocktails and, deliciousness.
It definitely can be a challenging time. One of your sources had a great analogy. They said to think of the holidays as a marathon, not a sprint.
Okay, I like that. So it's not about being perfect, it's about finding a sustainable pace.
Exactly. And about making mindful choices. Like really savor those special holiday treats instead of just mindlessly munching on them.
Oh, yeah, I'm so guilty of that. Just standing by the dessert table and suddenly the plate is empty.
Another great tip is to plan ahead. If you're going to a party, maybe bring a healthy dish to share so you know there's at least one option that aligns with your goals.
That's a great idea. Now, let's talk about something I never really considered as part of healthy eating. Sleep.
Sleep is crucial. It affects everything, including our eating habits.
Really? How so?
Well, when we don't get enough sleep, our bodies produce more of the hormone that makes us feel hungry and less of the hormone that makes us feel full.
Oh, that explains why I always want to eat everything in sight when I'm tired.
It's a common phenomenon. Your sources all recommend aiming for 7 to 9 hours of quality sleep per night.
Okay, so prioritize sleep. Got it. But how do we actually get better sleep?
You know, the usual things. Establish a regular sleep schedule, create a relaxing bedtime routine, avoid caffeine and alcohol before bed.
Solid advice. Now let's talk about something that I think a lot of people struggle with. Body image.
Yeah, this is such an important topic. It's so easy to get caught up in comparing ourselves to others and striving for some unattainable ideal.
Right. Like social media makes it even worse. It's all about filters and, I don't know, presenting this perfect image.
Exactly. But the truth is, there's no such thing as a perfect body. We're all different, and that's beautiful.
I love that. But how do we actually, cultivate a more positive body image?
Well, one of the things your sources talked about was shifting our focus from weight loss to overall health and well-being.
So, like, instead of obsessing over the number on the scale, I should be focusing on how I feel.
Exactly. And there's this concept called body neutrality that I found really interesting.
Body neutrality.
It's about accepting your body as it is without judgment.
Okay, I think I need to read more about that. Now, I know we're almost out of time, but I want to touch on one more thing. Mindset.
Yes, mindset is everything.
Like, how can I actually, make healthy eating stick? How do I stay motivated?
Well, your sources talked about the importance of cultivating a positive mindset around food.
Okay, so instead of thinking of it as like, deprivation or punishment.
Exactly. Think of it as an act of self-care. Focus on the benefits of healthy eating, like how it makes you feel, the energy it gives you.
It's like, I'm nourishing my body and my mind.
Exactly. And challenge those negative thoughts. Instead of saying, I can't eat that, say, I'm choosing to nourish my body with this delicious and healthy meal.
Okay, so positive self-talk. Got it. Now, we've talked about so much information, and I know it can feel overwhelming. Like, where do we even start?
I think the key is to focus on one step at a time. Pick one area you want to work on and go from there. Don't try to change everything overnight.
So baby steps.
Exactly. And remember, it's okay to make mistakes. Healthy eating is a journey, not a destination.
Oh man, I needed to hear that. So much pressure to be perfect.
You don't have to be perfect. Just keep learning, keep growing, and keep experimenting until you find what works for you.
Well said. Now, I can't wait to hear what you've got in store for the final part of our deep dive. This has been amazing. All right, so we've talked about a lot of great stuff so far, the science, the psychology, the gut bacteria, but how do we actually make this all work in real life?
Yeah, that's $1 million question, isn't it? Knowledge is great, but action is what really matters.
Exactly, because it's so easy to get caught up in the, the theory of it all, but then you've got work, you've got family, you've got like zero time to meal prep.
Oh, I totally get it.
Yeah.
One of your sources called it building a healthy eating ecosystem.
A healthy eating ecosystem. Okay, I am intrigued. Tell me more.
It's the idea that, it's not just about willpower. It's about setting yourself up for success by creating an environment that supports your goals.
So it's like we're not just relying on motivation. We're actually changing our surroundings to make healthy choices easier.
Exactly. And one of the first steps in creating that ecosystem is setting realistic goals.
Okay, so like, don't try to do everything at once.
Right. Pick one or two things you want to focus on. Maybe it's drinking more water or eating veggies at every meal or cutting back on processed snacks.
Okay, so small, manageable changes. But what if I mess up? Like, I'm pretty sure I'm going to have days where I just want to eat all the pizza.
And that's totally okay. One of your sources talked about embracing imperfection. Healthy eating isn't about being perfect. It's about progress.
Okay, that makes me feel better because I know I'm not going to be perfect. But how do I stay motivated when I'm just not feeling it?
Well, that's where the ecosystem comes in. Remember how we talked about setting yourself up for success? One simple thing you can do is declutter your kitchen.
So, like, get rid of all the junk food.
Basically, out of sight, out of mind, right?
Makes sense. What else can we do to make those healthy choices easier?
Well, make sure you've got plenty of healthy options on hand. Stock your fridge with fresh produce, have nuts and seeds ready to, make it easy to make a good choice.
Okay, so it's like if the healthy stuff is right there, I'm more likely to actually eat it.
Exactly. And don't forget about social support. Tell your friends and family about your goals. Maybe find a workout buddy or join a healthy eating group online.
Yeah, it's always easier when you've got, people cheering you on.
Exactly. And speaking of support systems, let's talk about meal planning.
Oh, meal planning. I always feel like that's something, super organized people do.
It doesn't have to be complicated.
Yeah.
But it can be a game changer.
Okay, but why? What's so great about meal planning?
Well, when you plan your meals in advance, you're less likely to, get to the end of the day and realize you have nothing to eat and just order takeout. It helps you stay on track.
So it's about being prepared, like having a plan of attack for the week.
Exactly. And it can save you money, too.
Okay, I'm starting to see the light, but what about those days when I just don't have time to cook?
Have you ever tried batch cooking?
Batch cooking.
It's basically cooking a big batch of something on the weekend and then portioning it out for the week. So you can have lunches or dinners ready to go.
Oh, that's smart. Like a freezer full of healthy meals.
Exactly. It's a lifesaver.
Okay, I'm definitely going to try that. Now, I want to touch on something that can be a bit, scary for some people. Food journaling.
Yeah, food journaling can be a really powerful tool, but it can also be intimidating.
Because it's like you're really facing your eating habits head on.
Exactly. It's about bringing awareness to your choices.
Okay, so it's not about judgment. It's about understanding.
Exactly. It's a way to get to know yourself better and understand your patterns and triggers around food.
So, maybe I realize I always crave sugar when I'm stressed.
Exactly. And once you know your triggers, you can start to develop strategies for managing them.
Wow, okay. That's actually really helpful.
And remember, you don't have to do it perfectly. Start with just a few days a week or even just one meal a day.
Okay, small steps. I can do that. Now, as we wrap up this deep dive, what's the one piece of advice you want our listeners to take away from all of this?
Remember that healthy eating is a journey, not a destination. Be kind to yourself, embrace imperfection, and celebrate every step you take towards a healthier you.
Hey, I love that. It's about progress, not perfection. And it's a journey we're all on together.
Absolutely. We're all learning and growing and supporting each other along the way.
Well said. And that's a wrap on our deep dive into the world of healthy eating. We hope you've enjoyed this exploration as much as we have.
We've learned so much about the science, the psychology, and the practical strategies for making healthy eating a sustainable and joyful part of our lives.
Remember, there's no one-size-fits-all approach. It's about finding what works for you, listening to your body, and embracing the journey.
We encourage you to continue exploring, experimenting, and discovering what healthy eating means for you.
And remember, you don't have to do it alone. Reach out to friends, family, or a healthcare professional for support and guidance.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.
Until next time, happy and healthy eating.